Have you ever met a ghost? Not the kind that rattles chains, but a psychological one. It's a person who seems to be all light, no shadow. They are unfailingly, almost unnervingly kind. They agree with everything you say, their schedule is always open for you, and they seem willing to fold themselves into any shape that might please you. Your conscious mind, your ego, registers this as a perfect match. On paper, they are safe, they are devoted, they are everything you've been told to look for. But then, something deeper inside you stirs. A quiet, unsettling feeling. Instead of the warmth of attraction, you feel a subtle chill, a sense of suffocation. You might even find yourself, to your own shame, losing respect for them. You pull away, and you can't logically explain why. This leads us to a profound question that has haunted psychology since its inception. Why does the human psyche so often reject the very safety and kindness it consciously craves? This isn't a sign that you are cold or ungrateful. It is evidence of a sacred conflict, a deep rift between what your conscious mind thinks it wants and what your soul actually needs. The great psychoanalyst Carl Jung might suggest that your psyche isn't searching for perfection, but for wholeness. And a person who presents only their light, who has repressed their own needs, their own anger, their own boundaries, their shadow, can feel unconsciously incomplete, almost unreal. This conflict is the invisible force behind so much of our relational suffering. It's the reason the most logical choice for a partner can leave you feeling empty, why the person who tries the hardest to be loved is often the one who is left, and why your own most noble intentions in a relationship might be the very things sabotaging it. This isn't a flaw in your character. It is a signal from the deepest parts of yourself. A call to look beyond the surface, into the hidden architecture of the human heart. Today, we are not just going to analyze behavior, we are going to descend into that architecture and decode the silent language of the soul. To truly understand this internal schism, we must first be willing to meet the warring parts of ourselves. Have you ever felt like a house divided, where your heart pulls you in one direction while your head screams to go in another? This isn't just indecisiveness. It is the fundamental tension of the human condition, a conflict that psychoanalysis has sought to map for over a century. We can visualize this conflict through a simple, powerful metaphor: the two rival intelligences living within you. Let us first speak of the ancient one, the primal consciousness. You can call it the lizard brain, or what Freud termed the ID, the it. This is the oldest part of you, a relic of millions of years of brutal survival. It is a creature of instinct, living deep in the unconscious. It has no concept of morality, of fairness, or of kindness. Its language is not spoken in words, but in jolts of raw energy: attraction, repulsion, hunger, and fear. This primal self doesn't care about a person's resume or their good intentions. It is assessing something far more fundamental: their vitality, their life force. Is this person a survivor? Do they possess a sense of inner authority, a comfortable relationship with their own power, their own shadow? This is the part of you that feels that undeniable, amoral, magnetic pull towards raw confidence and a deep, instinctual aversion to the scent of neediness. Then there is the newer intelligence, the architect of your identity. We can call it the human brain, the seat of the ego and superego. This is the conscious you, the narrator of your life story. This is the part that holds your values, your ethics, your compassion, and your deep, aching need for genuine connection and belonging. It's the part of you that has learned, through culture and experience, what a good person is and what a healthy relationship should look like. It is the voice that whispers, "Choose the kind one. Choose the safe one." It yearns for shared dreams, emotional intimacy, and moral consistency. Here, then, is the source of the paradox. The great conflict of love is not between you and another person. It is between the ancient, impersonal ID and the modern, personal ego. Your primal self decides who you are instinctively drawn to based on an assessment of power and wholeness. But your conscious, human self decides who you can build a life and find happiness with based on shared values. And the tragedy is, these two systems are often in violent disagreement, tearing you apart in the process. Have you ever found yourself trying to earn love? as if it were a prize to be won or a debt to be paid off through meticulous acts of service. Many of us, especially those who carry the heavy weight of being a people pleaser, unconsciously treat our relationships like an emotional vending machine. We believe in a silent, cosmic transaction. If we insert enough kindness, enough sacrifice, enough perfectly timed agreement, then eventually, the machine must dispense the one thing we crave: unwavering love and respect. But the machine remains stubbornly empty. And we are left wondering, what did we do wrong? The answer lies not in the amount of effort we give, but in the psychological place from which we are giving. In the language of transactional analysis, a model developed by Eric Berne, we each operate from three primary ego states: the parent, the adult, and the child. The healthy, grounded adult gives freely from a place of wholeness. But the people pleaser is not operating from their adult. They are acting from a deeply ingrained part of their psyche known as the adapted child. This is the part of us that learned, in our earliest years, that our authenticity was unsafe. To receive love, to prevent abandonment, to maintain peace in a chaotic home, we had to suppress our own needs and become exquisitely attuned to the needs of others. As Dr. Gabor Mate observes, this isn't a personality trait, it is a trauma response. A brilliant survival strategy where we sacrifice our true self for the sake of attachment. Let's imagine a man named Mark. His partner casually mentions she likes a certain band. For the adapted child within Mark, this isn't just information, it's an opportunity, a test. The next day, he has bought concert tickets, memorized her favorite songs, and planned an entire evening around it. On the surface, this is a grand romantic gesture. But unconsciously, it is a transaction. He is the child, desperately inserting coins of effort, hoping the partner, now cast in the role of the parent, will finally grant him the approval he has craved his whole life. He isn't just being nice, he is performing for his survival. And this is the tragedy. His partner doesn't feel cherished. She feels the unspoken weight of the transaction. Her unconscious mind doesn't register love. It registers the pressure of a hidden contract. It senses the desperation, the lack of a solid center in him, and it recoils. The more coins Mark frantically inserts into the machine, the less valuable each coin becomes. In his desperate attempt to prove his worth, he has accidentally made his kindness worthless. What if I told you that long before you exchange words about your careers, your hobbies, or your histories, your unconscious mind has already read a detailed report on the person in front of you? This document isn't written in ink, it's written in energy, in posture, in the subtle cadence of a voice. It is a hidden resume, a summary of their relationship with their own soul. The fields on this resume aren't skills or accomplishments, but far more crucial metrics: capacity for emotional regulation, strength of personal boundaries, relationship with solitude, and location of inner authority. This intuitive screening process is what attachment theory, the life's work of psychologist John Bowlby, seeks to explain. Our earliest bonds create a blueprint, an internal working model for how relationships function. This model is what we broadcast to the world. A person with a secure attachment style, who learned that they were worthy of love and that their needs were valid, non-verbally communicates a profound sense of safety. The message is, my center of gravity is within myself. I am whole with or without you, and I choose to share my wholeness with yours. They offer connection without the threat of enmeshment. Conversely, a person with an anxious attachment style, often the very person who becomes the people pleaser, learned a different lesson. They learned that love was conditional, precarious, and had to be earned. Their hidden resume communicates a quiet panic. The message is, you are my center. Please validate me. Please regulate my emotions. Please don't leave me, because I am not whole on my own. Now, let's ask the question from the perspective of that deep, primal intelligence within. If someone hands you the terrifying responsibility for their entire happiness, are they offering you a partnership, or are they handing you a profound psychological burden? Your conscious mind may feel pity or a desire to rescue them, but your unconscious registers this as a threat to your own sovereignty. This brings us to the metaphor of psychological gravity. A person who has done the difficult inner work to connect with their authentic self what Carl Jung would call the organizing principle of the psyche, develops a solid core. They cultivate their own purpose, their own passions, their own unwavering values. They become a planet, and their stable, coherent energy creates a gravitational field that naturally draws others into a healthy orbit. The anxiously attached individual, however, remains an asteroid, their sense of self fragmented, desperately seeking an external body to cling to give them orbit and meaning. And our deepest instincts are not wired to be clung to, they are wired to be drawn towards the warmth and light of a star. If the path of the people-pleaser, the emotional transaction, leads only to a quiet despair, what then is the alternative? Must one become cold, callous, a fortress of indifference? The answer is no. The opposite of the adapted child is not a cruel parent, but a fully realized adult. The alternative is a courageous and often misunderstood path, the path of healthy selfishness. Let us be clear. This is not the grandiosity of narcissism, which is a desperate performance to conceal a terrifying inner emptiness. Healthy selfishness is the exact opposite. It is the cultivation of a profound inner fullness. In the language of analytical psychology, this is the sacred work of individuation. It is the journey, as Carl Jung described it, of becoming your own authentic self, distinct from the projections and expectations of others. It means your primary duty is no longer to manage the emotions of those around you, but to discover and serve the core of your own being, your own purpose, your own values, your own truth. You learn to fill your own cup, not so you can hoard it, but so you have something to give freely, as a true gift rather than a down payment on love. Let us return to Mark. Imagine him on this new path. His partner again mentions she likes a band. The old Mark, operating from his wounded inner child, would have seen this as a cue to perform. But the individuating Mark hears it differently. He hears it as one whole person sharing their joy with another. And so he responds, "That's awesome. I'm actually really passionate about my woodworking project this weekend, but I hope you have a great time." Notice the shift. He is not rejecting her. He is validating her joy while honoring his own. He is demonstrating that he has a life, a source of vitality that exists independently of her. He is no longer an asteroid seeking an orbit. He is a planet generating his own light. He has boundaries, and those boundaries are not walls to keep her out. They are the foundations of the world he is building, a world he might one day invite her to share. Of course, this feels terrifying at first. The moment you choose your own purpose over another's immediate desire, the adapted child within you screams in terror. It is the primal fear of abandonment, the echo of an old wound whispering, "They will leave. They will think I don't care." This is the voice of trauma, mistaking self-possession for aggression. But here lies the ultimate paradox of human connection. The act of demonstrating that you can live a full and happy life without someone is often the very thing that makes a healthy person want to build a life with you. You are finally offering them the greatest gift of all, the freedom of not being responsible for your soul. So, after this journey into the warring factions of our psyche, where do we find ourselves? Are we doomed to a life of internal civil war, forever caught between the primal beast and the civilized self? Here we arrive at the ultimate realization, the turning point that transforms this conflict from a battle into a sacred partnership. The goal is not to kill your lizard brain. You cannot and you must not. That ancient intelligence is the very engine of your life force. To silence it would be to silence your passion, your vitality, your capacity to feel the electric charge of existence. A ship with no engine is not free, it is adrift. The true work, the great work of a conscious life, is integration. It is to let your evolved human brain, your conscious self, become the pilot of the vessel. A wise pilot does not hate the engine, they respect its power. They learn its rhythms, its strengths, and its dangers. They know that without the engine's raw, explosive energy, the journey is impossible. But they, and they alone, hold the map and the compass. The engine provides the power, but the pilot, your character, your wisdom, your values, is the one who chooses the destination. No one understood this principle of choice in the face of overwhelming force better than the psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, Viktor Frankl. In the midst of unimaginable suffering, he discovered the ultimate human freedom. He realized that our primary drive isn't for pleasure or power, but for meaning. And he gave us the key to that meaning in a single, life-altering passage. Between stimulus and response there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Let us hold these words for a moment. The stimulus, that is the raw data from your engine. It is the primal jolt of attraction towards someone who embodies confidence. It is the sickening, familiar pang of your abandonment wound when you feel someone pull away. It is the compulsive urge to people-please, to perform for your survival. The space, this is the sacred pause. This is the workshop of your soul, the gift of your conscious awareness. It is the moment, however brief, where you are no longer just a reactor, but a potential creator. And the response, this is everything. This is your freedom. It is the choice to act not from the raw compulsion of the engine, but from the quiet, steady values of the pilot. The essence of psychological maturity is not the absence of primal urges, but the presence of conscious choice. It is the daily, moment-by-moment work of widening that sacred space. So, we return to where we began, to that unsettling paradox of the human heart. The reason our soul often recoils from the kindness that tries too hard is not a flaw in our character, but a testament to its profound wisdom. Our deepest self, that ancient intelligence, is not searching for servitude. It is searching for strength. Not the hollow strength of dominance, which is merely a mask for fear, but the quiet, unshakable strength that comes only from a person who has done the grueling, sacred work of mastering their own inner world. It is the strength of a psyche that has dared to face its own shadows and integrate them. This has been a journey from mechanism to cosmology. It is the conscious choice to stop living as an emotional vending machine, forever calculating transactions of effort and approval. It is the beginning of the great work of becoming a planet, a world unto yourself, with a core so solid and true that it generates its own warmth, its own light, its own gravity. It is the realization that you must first build a world that you yourself love to live in before you can genuinely invite another to share it. And in this, we discover that the most profoundly attractive force in human connection is not need, but freedom. It is the quiet power of a person who does not look to you to be their source of validation, their regulator, their reason for being. It is the person who, already whole, turns to you and says, I do not need you to survive, but I choose you to share my life with. That choice, born from fullness rather than from emptiness, is the only foundation upon which true, lasting love can be built. And so, I will leave you with a quiet question, not for judgment, but for gentle reflection. Look at the landscape of your own connections, past and present. In that sacred space, have you been living as a mechanism or as a world? As a vending machine or as a planet? I would be honored to read your thoughts in the comments below. The work of understanding the psyche is not meant to be done in isolation. We find pieces of our own story reflected in the stories of others. If this deep dive into the architecture of our feelings resonated with you, and you wish to support the creation of more content that honors the complexity of the human experience, then I invite you to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Each interaction is more than just a metric. It is a signal that there is a desire for these quieter, more thoughtful conversations in a noisy world. But more than that, I genuinely wish for this space to be one of collective insight. The comment section below is not just a forum, it is a digital hearth where we can share our experiences. If you feel called to share a reflection on where you have seen this paradox, this tension between the planet and the vending machine, play out in your own life. Your story, your moment of realization, might be the very lantern that illuminates the path for someone else who is navigating the same territory. There is immense wisdom in our shared human experience. Thank you for your time and for the courage to look within. Be well.